situation, setup, it is the best I can do. So don't get dizzy or sick to your stomach seeing it bounce all around. But I wanted to just chat a little bit today, going over to a practice arena just to do a little bit of practice with the horses. I already have my trailer hooked up, but I had it parked at my house, so I'm on the way to get the horses now. I did that on purpose to make it easy on myself. I called somewhere last weekend, and I knew I wanted to go back somewhere again this week after work. And I knew I was gonna try to be lazy about it and not want to do it. So I figured keeping my trailer hooked up would make me more motivated to go in the afternoon somewhere after working all day when I knew I wouldn't feel like it. That's another thing that in this book I've been reading, the Atomic Habits book, is one of the things he talks about in there is making what you want to be your new normal habits easy. Kind of human nature to want to conserve energy, right? Like, I know that we tend to think of people who want to be lazy as being bad or not dedicated or not motivated. But in actuality, that's just a very normal thing that our brain does for us. I mean, it's kind of the natural tendency of any creature to want to conserve energy, right? Like, energy is a finite resource, and you want to save it and conserve it to be used towards the things that matter most, like getting what you need for like basic needs and maintaining life. So it's not really, there's nothing really bad about us being a little lazy by nature. It's kind of just the brain doing what the brain is supposed to do. So making things easier on yourself, making good habits easier on yourself will make them easier to stick with. It's kind of the same philosophy we use when we're training horses. You want to make all the right stuff easier than all the wrong stuff. You're not going to make a 1,200 pound animal do anything it doesn't want to do. So the goal is to make the animal want to do the thing that you want it to do. And we do that by making that thing the easier thing. Because again, just like us, they're naturally going to want to go the path of least resistance, because that's what our brains naturally will want to do. So enough about that. I wanted to just talk a little bit today about anxiety, stress, depression, unhappiness. And I'm so sorry that this phone is all over the place. I can't do anything about it though. It just is what it is, unfortunately. But I wanted to talk a little bit about those things today, because I talk a lot in these videos about mindfulness, about ways to combat or deal with or cope with anxiety, depression, feelings of unhappiness, feelings of stress. But what I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about today is that although there are a lot of things in life we can't control, and especially in modern day world, we have a lot of stressors in our life. I mean, it used to be like a long time ago, like our ancestors might have been scared of getting chased by a tiger or a bear because they're living out in the wild in caveman days. But they didn't have all the other stressors that we have in modern day world. So our brains are more exposed to things that will make us go into fight or flight mode, right? Like, they're more exposed to things that are going to make us anxious. We're more exposed to things that are going to trigger the cascade that makes you stressed, depressed, unhappy, upset, etc. So in modern day world, it's, I think, really important for us to learn how to deal with all of that. Learn strategies to absorb everything the world throws at us and know how to react to it, know how to, oh, hold on 2 seconds. Let me focus on making this turn before I take somebody off the road. But we want to be able to understand what our mind is doing, and we want to be able to turn it off from the outside world when we're doing things like meditate, for example. You want to be able to shut all that outside noise out so you can really have clarity and you can really be present in the moment. So all that is great, and we still have to master all of that, because I think that is just the way we are set up in this world right now. Our brains have not really evolved to the point where it's seamless. Like, there's still a part of our brain that is very much dinosaur ancestor brain set up. So it's going to have these strong emotional reactions to stressors, whether they be small stressors, big stressors, perceived stressors, or real stressors. So we still want to prioritize that. But what I wanted to talk a little bit about today is I want to caution everyone on perfecting that to the point that you can actually keep yourself from changing things in your life that you might be better off changing. And I know that sounds weird, so let me try to explain what I'm talking about. Like stress, anxiety, that anxiousness of feeling like you have to get something done is healthy, right? Like, there are things that we need our bodies to get us a little worked up about, because then we are forced to take action on them. Things like, if you hear a noise in the middle of the night and you're worried your house is being broken into, that might be a good reason to have adrenaline surge and take action, right? If you have a big project due at work next week, that might be a really good thing to get a little stressed about, because that's your body's way of telling you, like, hey, you need to pay attention to this and you need to get it done. So I think it's complicated in our world because there's a lot of outside forces that cause us mental angst that we want to learn to block out, for lack of a better word, or cope with. But then there's a lot of things that, like, maybe we should pay attention to. If your brain and your body is trying to tell you that something just doesn't feel quite right, it might be worth your while to really examine that and see if it's something that you need to change or that you need to address. I'm here at the barn to pick the horses up, so let me grab them and then I will be right back. Okie dokie, I'm back. I don't remember exactly what I was saying, and my phone is still popping all over the place. I'm sorry. But the thing that made me think about chatting about that a little bit on here is really been how my job has been lately. It's for reasons I'm not going to go into on here. It has been very stressful and very overwhelming, and I can feel like a difference in myself because of it. Like, I'm a little more worked up all the time. I'm a little more stressed out all the time. I'm not thinking as clearly as I normally do. I'm finding it really a lot tougher to be mindful and to, feel like I'm successfully practicing mindfulness. So it's impacting me for sure. And I was talking to myself in my head like I usually do. And so the other day I was thinking about this because I'm aware of it. I recognize it. And so I was telling myself, like, okay, like, we need to just start prioritizing doing things that are gonna de-stress more often, like working out and being more faithful and consistent with practicing mindfulness and things like that. And although that is very true, I do need to prioritize making sure I'm consistent with that stuff. The reality is, what I probably really need to do is just change my job. If my job is this impactful to me and to my well-being, and I feel like it's messing up other parts of my life, like, what I really need to do is just leave it or successfully change whatever I need to change about it to fix it. Now, I'm not ready to quit my job yet. We're working on a lot of stuff that's really important and I think really meaningful for the community. So I'm not ready to like throw in the towel yet. I want to try to like see this through. And that is what being aware and being mindful will grant you, like the ability to make that educated decision. Be like, okay, is it time to move on from this thing that is not really serving me very well, or am I willing to continue to try to make it better, to try to make it work, whatever the case may be. So although I'm not ready to like throw in the towel yet, and that might be the answer to a lot of people out there that are struggling with something, you might really do some soul searching and you might realize, yeah, like this is a source of problem for me, but I'm not ready to throw in the towel yet. I mean, if we threw in the towel on everything the second it got hard, nothing would ever get achieved, nothing would ever get accomplished. Nothing worth having comes easy, right? Like there's gonna be struggles. So I'm not saying nothing is gonna be without struggles, but at some point you do have to make a conscious decision about yourself, your life, your well-being, and if there's something out there that is a source of anxiety, a source of depression, a source of stress, a source of unhappiness for you, do your mindfulness, get yourself into a headspace where you can have a clear head, you can really think through things logically, really from an unemotionally charged standpoint, and figure out, okay, is this worth fighting for? Or do I need to just remove this from my life? We talk a lot about mental health nowadays. You know, every commercial you see on TV is talking about mental health. And although I'm like the hugest advocate for mental health and doing things like cognitive behavioral therapy and doing things to improve your anxiety and the way you look at the world, like I'm the number one fan of all of that. But at the same time, we don't want to forget that actually sometimes the solution is just removing yourself from a situation, or removing a situation from your life, or a relationship from your life. You can't power through, nor should you try to power through unhealthy surroundings by doing work on your anxiety and doing work on your mental well-being. Like, it's possible that the reason you're feeling stressed about something, or the reason you're feeling anxious about something, is because your brain is trying to tell you that this is not good for you. And it's okay to make a conscious decision that you agree that, yeah, like this isn't good for me and I need to remove myself from it. As long as you're doing it from a clear-headed space, as long as you're doing it when you're not emotionally charged, as long as you've done your due diligence to really think through it so you can make an informed decision, I think we should be empowered to do that. Like, sometimes it's relationships, sometimes it's our careers or something about our careers, sometimes it's our home life. I mean, there's 1,000 reasons that people are out there living their lives a little less happy or less fulfilled than they ideally should be. And you You are the only person that can control that. You have to be strong enough and willing to make tough decisions when they need to be made. And if something is not good for you or not healthy for you and is stealing joy from your life, you have to have a hard conversation with yourself, and you have to decide, is this something I'm just responding to in the wrong way and I need to work on looking at this in a different way, or mentally approaching this a different way, or work on my anxiety issues, blah blah? Or is this something that you need to change about your life? Is this something you need to remove from your life? A situation you need to get out of, a relationship you need to get out of, a job you need to get out of, whatever. So don't be afraid to have those conversations with yourself. Again, do them in the right headspace. You want to have these conversations with a clear head, not emotionally charged. You want to be able to logic it out and really respond to it in a real way. So don't get trapped by making hasty decisions when you're emotionally charged and you're reactionary. Trying to inspire and encourage people to be the happiest they can be is something that I have a lot of passion about, and that's why I do these videos. That's why I read the books I read and try to educate myself on this stuff, because life is just too short. I mean, I just look at what is happening right now to the poor people over in Europe and what they're going through. Look at what we've been through the last couple years with COVID. I mean, life is fragile. The world is, as we know it, is fragile. I mean, I've worked in healthcare for, I guess, 16 years now, if I'm not miscalculating. And I've worked in critical care environments that entire time, pretty much. And I see, every time I'm at work, I see some tragic story of someone who's losing someone they care about, or someone whose life has changed forever because they've gotten severely hurt, or someone they love has gotten severely hurt. I see those stories every day. And I think I'm somebody who's very aware of how fragile life is, and I still take it for granted. And that's what being slapped in my face every time I walk into work. We've all lost someone that we care about. We've all had something tragic happen to us or to someone we care about in our life. We all know what that feels like, yet and it's so easy for us to say, oh yeah, live every day like it's your last day. But then we go about our lives and it's like we forget. Even when we're trying to remember, we still take for granted how much we have to lose any second. Don't let your life go to waste. There's so many people that don't have the luxury of being able to make their life better anymore. If you still have a chance and you still have an opportunity, you owe it to the universe to live completely, fully, 100%, and do whatever you have to do to be as fulfilled as possible, be as happy as possible, be as meaningful to the world around you as possible. You know, for all of us, there's going to come a time where we can't say, I'll do this tomorrow, or I'll chase that dream tomorrow, or I'll talk to that person tomorrow. That time comes for all of us. We don't know how, we don't know when, we don't know what the world is going to look like when it happens, but the certainty is it happens for all of us. We don't like to think about how quick we can lose everything happens, it does happen, and it will happen. So that's my tirade for today. I hope it makes a dent in someone out there and encourages them to really prioritize